It's the finally Friday edition of the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video, weather for Weather Geeks, and not only was today hot, it was our hottest day in almost 2 years at the Youngstown Warren Airport. We reached 92 this afternoon. That's the first time we've hit 92 since August of 2022, so that was 22 months ago. And I think we could best this number by a degree or maybe even two on Saturday. The record high on today's date, definitely out of reach. That was 98 degrees. In 1933, look at that record low. Way back in 1897, got down to 35 degrees this deep into the month of June. All right, so the heat index was the story today. Aside from the temperature, we had a heat index before thunderstorms approached the airport this afternoon of 98 degrees. Then some rain-cooled air moved through and briefly cooled down the Vienna area where the airport is, and then the heat index value got back to 96 in the 5 o'clock hour. We're expecting similar numbers on Saturday, perhaps even touching the century mark for those heat index values Saturday afternoon. We did have some thunderstorms that popped up this afternoon, first in northern Trumbull County. Then not much happened for a couple of hours, but over the last few hours, we've had some pretty beefy storms that evolved south of 224 primarily, down into Columbiana County, also out east across parts of Mercer and Lawrence counties. Some pretty decent thunderstorms over the last few hours. They've dumped a decent amount of rain as well, kind of between Route 30 and Route 39. So Summitville over towards Rock Camp, West Point, places like that. Do a few queries here, and our radar estimates show upwards of maybe a couple of inches worth of rain locally in this corridor, but it's a feast or famine kind of a thing. Some of us, of course, did not have a drop of rain this afternoon. And otherwise, the heat remains the story. A heat advisory in effect through the day Saturday. Metro Pittsburgh, it's an excessive heat warning. And so we've got one more day of this to get through before some changes starting on Sunday. As I mentioned last night, the moon is nearly full again tonight, and with a mostly clear sky. You can check this out. It's the full strawberry moon. That's the name oftentimes given to the full moon that occurs in the month of June. And we'll get off to a dry start on Saturday. In fact, I think Saturday will likely be dry from start to finish in the vast majority of the area. There's just not much of a trigger for thunderstorms other than the heat and humidity tomorrow afternoon. And I think there could be a little more subsidence or sinking air aloft that prevents activity from getting going in the afternoon. And so could there be a renegade thunderstorm in the afternoon? Yes, but don't plan on it. Most of us will just have a really stinking hot and humid Saturday. Then things get a little more interesting by Sunday. This cold front approaching from the west has a lot of things going for it. One is the timing. It makes its approach during the warmest part of the day here locally in eastern Ohio and western PA. The other thing is we've got a pretty good wind field aloft in association with this system. And so I think there'll be some pretty good ingredients for some heavy gusty storms somewhere across the region Sunday afternoon. The latest run of our kind of in-house computer model here doesn't have a tremendous amount of activity. And there are some models that do look like this, but there are other models who do paint a pretty stormy-looking picture for Sunday afternoon. And then in the wake of that system, what a nice day we have coming on Monday with lower dew points. With the Day 3 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center today, all of eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania in the low-end Category 1 out of 5, risk for severe weather Sunday. I strongly suspect that there will be a Category 2 issuance for parts of this region when this becomes the Day 2 outlook overnight tonight. Could it be in most of eastern Ohio and western PA? I could see where that's the case. I could see where it's maybe a little bit farther to the east, but I think there's going to be a level 2 risk outlined somewhere across the region by the Storm Prediction Center as we go through the overnight for tonight. So as we go into the weekend, Sunday afternoon, I should say, the number one risk is definitely damaging wind gusts, but there's enough wind energy aloft and enough wind shear that a tornado or two can't be ruled out somewhere across the region. Now, it's of course impossible to say more than that at this stage of the game, but there will be some favorable dynamics and wind energy aloft, and I think there could be some hail-producing storms as well. So we'll do 93 on Saturday with the heat index much like today in the upper 90s. Sunday, not quite as hot because our warm-up will get short-circuited a little bit by the threat for showers and storms as early as midday on Sunday, and then certainly elevated rain chances as we head through the afternoon. We actually have two cold fronts heading our way. The first one is Sunday. In its wake, a nice day Monday. We'll keep an eye on Tuesday. The possibility is still there, I think, for some sort of storms to cascade in the northwest flow down out of the upper Midwest and into Ohio Tuesday. That's a low-confidence thing, but it's something that we're going to be watching. Higher confidence in the idea that there's going to be a cold front that comes through on Wednesday with a pretty good chance of showers and storms, and that could be another severe weather threat kind of a day on Wednesday. And that's the second front, and in its wake, it looks really nice as high pressure builds in for a couple of days. Now, in this kind of a pattern, this large-scale pattern, these cool downs are brief, a couple of days, but we'll take it. After sweltering all week this week, Monday's going to be great. I think next Thursday and Friday will be great, but we're going to need to stay weather aware Sunday afternoon, and then again Tuesday and especially into Wednesday during the middle of next week. So we'll have you covered as far as any breaking severe weather coverage goes this weekend. You know where to find us. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you back here for more weather for Weather Geeks on Monday.